Virginia State Police. I got the Honaker part right.
You did, man. I answered a Honaker though.
I do not want no talking. Absolute respect.
Well, I picked up this football helmet because it kind of caught my attention, but I know the last thing you want to do is hear a long speech after football practice, so that's not what you're going to get. But for some reason, God has blessed me with this incredible opportunity to get to talk to football players all the time. I get great invitations to talk to football teams from rec league to some colleges, some small colleges, and even got to make a video that was sent to a team. And you know, I guess it's because God knows how much I love the game of football. I played it my whole life. I played football for the Marine Corps, and I always loved the game. Now, ultimately, that led to me becoming a United States Marine and becoming a state trooper, which, you know, I'm at the end of my career, getting ready to retire and go into the private sector in a great career. And I guess some people might look at that and call it success, but everybody's definition of success is a little different. But I'll tell you, I learned so much about life. I learned so much about what it means to win, how it feels to lose, what it means to succeed, what it means to be part of a team and something bigger than yourself. I learned those things through football before they were ever confirmed in my life by the Marine Corps or the state police or the church or lifelong friendships. Football taught me so much about life. And I hope and I pray right now that what you're experiencing in the game of football, well, maybe you're too young to realize it, but you'll get old like me one day and you will realize that so much that you need to know about life, so much that you're going to go through in life, and so much that you're going to experience in life in so many ways is like the game of football. And I would hate to look back and think how I would have turned out or how life would have been different if I hadn't got to play this great game. Now listen, there's a lot of people out there who are going to say football's just a game. It's just a game you play. And you get to do it for a while and then it's over. Well, believe me, you will remember the last day, whether it was middle school, high school, college, or even guys that play in the pro. They remember as much as the first day they ever put the uniform on. They remember the last day they took it off. They remember what it felt like to take that uniform off and think, I will never play this game again. I remember being in high school, getting ready to go in the Marine Corps, and thought, I'll never play this game again. And I remember the coach giving us a big speech before our very last game that Friday night and saying, 99% of you young men in this room, tonight's the last night you will ever wear a football uniform and play this great game. And I thought it applied to me. So I played my heart out that night and still have the fondest memories of that game. But then I ended up in the Marine Corps and they said, hey, we heard you played football. Yeah, I played football. You want to play football for the Marine Corps? Yeah, I want to play football for the Marine Corps. And I was just sharing with Steve some of the great things about Marine Corps football and how much I loved it. And as we were talking about it, I looked down and I saw this helmet and I said, I can always tell who the football players are by looking at their helmet. I can see a hitter's helmet. Now you know and I know, we don't lead with the head. You keep your face up, get your head to the side. Your coaches teach you all that for a reason, because they don't want you to get hurt. They don't want you to break your neck and compress your spine. And I've had a couple of those injuries. But this is a Warrior's bonnet, man. This says a lot about you. It represents your school. It says as much about your school as the person that has it on their head when they play the game. And you need to think about that and realize how you are part of something so much bigger than yourself. I know you get frustrated. You probably think, well, I'm tired of the coach yelling at me. I'm tired of the wind sprints. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of that. I'm telling you, you're going to look back one day and you're going to remember, man, those were great times, playing a great game. Now, I realize we can put a lot of pressure on it. I was telling some folks earlier today, I remember a great football coach got his team together one day, and he held up a football, and he talked about an intense coach. He held up that football in front of his football team and he said, listen, it is better that you die as a young man than to ever fumble this football in a game. Now, that's a guy that's serious about football, right? Now, I'm not that serious. I don't want to see anybody get down because you fumble a football, you miss a tackle. But I remember coming and talking to some of you guys last year, and I talked to you about what it was like to have to go out in the world and work hard at something and be determined, and be dedicated. And I continue to give that talk to young men and young women everywhere I go. There's something significant that happened this past week. For the first time ever, they let a woman try to become a Navy SEAL. And the fact that she made it to the selection process to go to SEAL training was not the big news. Because generally good news and success is not reported as much as failure. But if you watched the news last week, the big news was that she tapped out. She went and rang the bell, and she dropped out of the SEAL program and did not become the first ever woman Navy SEAL. And I'm sure there were probably a lot of chauvinist people out there in the world that said, see, that'll teach women a lesson. A woman can't be a Navy SEAL. But you know, when I watched that in the news, what I got in my heart was, she didn't make it, but there's a woman out there somewhere that one day is going to make the decision. She is going to be so determined, and she's going to be so dedicated that she will be the first woman to ever pin that trident on and be the first ever woman Navy SEAL. So I didn't rejoice last week because I heard a woman didn't make it. I just thought in my heart, I'm sad for her. Must have been a hard decision. But I hope I'm still alive when one of them makes it, because I love to see people succeed. And I hope you do too. I hope you want to be successful. I hope you want the people around you to be successful, because you're not going anywhere in life if you don't succeed and if you don't care about the success of the people around you. It's been said a million times. If you'll help the people around you be successful, you won't be able to help but be successful yourself. You create success by investing success in other people. And that's what you've got to do as a football team this year if you're going to be successful. You want to win games or you want to lose games? Win games. Are you going to win all of those games? No. Why not? See, now, if you'd asked me that question, I'd have said, you're darn right we're going to win them all. Because I'm deciding right now we're going to. Now, I don't always know what life's going to do. I don't know who's going to get hurt. I don't know who's going to fumble the ball. I don't know what tackle I'm going to miss. But I'm going to go into it believing that we're going to succeed and win every game. So I'm going to ask you that question again. You want to play football this year? Yes, sir. Are you going to win all your games? Yes, sir. That's right. Now, if we lose later, we'll deal with that. We'll find out what God's trying to teach us from that. We'll find out some things about our character and our friendships and our teamwork when we lose as much as when we win. But maybe everything we learn about ourselves and this football team this year will be what we learn from winning every single game we play. And that happens by giving 100% on every single down of football you play. You cannot take downs off. You cannot take breaks on the field. You cannot fail the person on the right of you or the left of you who's got on the same uniform as you. Does that make sense? Yes, sir. That's what the Marine Corps teaches you. It's what football teaches you. It's what life teaches you. Now, any of you ever get butterflies? I used to always get terrible butterflies before playing football. I get terrible butterflies. And later on in life, a very wise man looked at me, an older Marine, and he said, we were talking about getting butterflies before missions and when we played football, and he said, hey, don't get butterflies, get dragons. And I said, what? You got to keep in mind, this is an old combat veteran, Vietnam Marine. He said, don't get butterflies, get dragons in your belly. I said, I never heard that before. He said, butterflies are pretty, but they're not going to do anything in your belly. He said, get dragons in your belly. Turn those butterflies into dragons, because when the dragons come out, they breathe fire. boy, ever since that day, I approached every situation in which I had butterflies in my stomach in a different way. Before I preached, before I gave speeches, before I was in dangerous situations, before I was in predicaments that I didn't know what I was going to do, I would remember that that guy had told me, don't get butterflies in your belly, get dragons in your spirit, because they'll breathe fire, and you'll win. And I want you to remember that this year too. Those butterflies are normal. And if you don't have some butterflies and some nervousness before you play football, you're probably playing the wrong game anyway. But it's never an excuse to not give 100% of the time. You know, there's a lot of talk in the world about your generation. You know what your generation's called? What do they call you guys? They haven't even told you yet? They call you millennials. Every generation. I'm apparently Generation X or something. They call you guys millennials because they say you don't work hard. They say you only care about yourself. They say you can't take being yelled at. You can't take it when a coach raises his voice at you. Well, that might apply to a lot of people in your generation, but it obviously doesn't apply to you because you're sitting here right now ready to play football. So don't let this world and this generational tag stick on you and cause you to assimilate to become what they call you. You don't ever have to answer to anything unless it's the name you want to be called. If you answer to the name loser, you'll be a loser. If you answer to the name quitter, you'll be a quitter. Don't even look in that direction when people call you that. Wait until they say, hey champ, hey winner, hey stud. That's what I'm going to turn around and look to when I'm called what I want to be called, right? And remember this, and I'm closing. 97% of the people in America today quit at whatever they start to do, whether it's an education, a new job, play football, to run a marathon. 97% they say quit. And I love what one very successful CEO of a multi-billion-dollar industry said. He said, remember that 97% of the people that quit work for the 3% that didn't. Think about that. 97%. The 97% that quit end up working for the 3% that didn't. They didn't quit. They kept going. They kept working hard. They kept pursuing success. Yeah, the scoreboard is sometimes going to say we won, and maybe, God forbid, a scoreboard this year will say you lost. But if you did, man, you know you can walk off of a football field, hold your head high, be proud of who you are and the guys on your team if you gave it 100%. But what you can't live with, and what you can't lay your head on the pillow at night thinking about is, we lost tonight because I gave 97% or 90% or 99.5%. We lost by 1 point because I gave 99% instead of 100% in that game tonight. Life, like football, you use it up while you have the chance. You get to the end of your life, you slide in sideways before God, beat up, scarred up, torn up, tired, hungry, thirsty, scarred. God looks at you and says, hey, it looks like you used everything up. And you want to be able to look at God, look at your family, your parents, your coaches, your friends, whoever matters to you. You want to be able to look at them at the end of the day and say, you know what? I didn't always control the ultimate outcome, but I always controlled how much I gave, and I always gave everything that I had. Life, football, career, school, friendships, and all of it. I gave 100% of everything I had. When you get to the end of your life, you don't have to be ashamed of anything. You don't even have to be afraid to stand before God at that point. So I hope that makes sense for you. You know, success, I'll say this and then we'll ask if I can pray for you. Success is something you gotta pay rent on. It's not something you own the rest of your life. You don't become successful and just get to say, okay, now I'm successful, so I'll be successful the rest of my life. The professional athletes, entertainers, successful CEOs of big companies, they all know success costs something. It's not something you really ever own. It's something you rent, and the rent is due every single day. It's what you're willing to pay every day when you get up and go out into the world. Whether it's to play football, be successful as a CEO, be a Marine, a Navy SEAL, or whatever you will be. But you've got to make that decision. And you made the decision to be here. Now you've got to have the determination to stay here. And then you got to have the dedication to make this thing successful. Does that make sense? Yes. So, you want to play football? Yes. How many games you going to win? All of them. We will never lose a game before we play it. We'll win all of them. All right? Let me pray for you. God, we just thank you for this day. Thank you for your love, your mercy, and your blessings. We thank you for each one of these young men and their families. We thank you for each of these coaches and all the support staff. God, we just thank you for bringing them together for a special time in their life to play a very special game. And God, I don't know what tomorrow holds. I don't know what the season has in store, but I just believe you're going to use this football season, this experience, to teach these young men about life, about winning and losing, about success, about making good decisions, about being determined, about being dedicated. You're going to teach them about relationships and being dependable and working hard. You're going to teach them about respecting coaches. You're going to teach them about loving the guy next to them, because they're in this together. And God, even as I pray for these lessons to be taught to these young men in their hearts and minds, I pray for their safety. I pray for your hand of protection and provision. And I just pray for a great football season, that everybody stay healthy, keep this group happy, win, lose, or draw. God, let nothing divide them or separate them in their friendships and in their relationships with their coaches. And God, all of this we pray in Christ's name. And everyone said, Amen. Amen. I'm coming to watch you play. So I'll be the guy yelling at you if I see you slacking off, all right? It'll win them games. All right.
All right, fellas. Hey, everybody, we appreciate Mr. Honaker coming and speaking with us. Everybody, give Mr. Honaker one. Give him one. That's a little bit better. Give him one. That's good. You're a member of our family.